Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do another what can you get, and this is what can you get for $5, but it's also going to be about how to print on a budget. So how can you get more pages for less money? The cost per page on this, I'm guessing, is going to be, counting the paper, which is about a penny a page, maybe slightly less. We're going to be looking at about a penny for paper and maybe a penny or less for the ink. And the reason is we are going to be using refillable ink cartridges in this printer. Now, these refillable ink cartridges have fill holes and air holes. Now, we need to leave the air holes open in order to print, or the ink won't flow. But we need to get these printers filled, or these cartridges filled. So I'm going to show you how I do that real quick. And before we get started, you might want to have some gloves because it can get messy sometimes. I have this little painter's pail, and I use that to drop in the syringes when I'm done so that they can be cleaned out. And up here we have the ink. Now, these printers use pigment ink for the black. That way you get a nice durable black, and you get the bright colors of the dye inks for the colors. So let's go ahead and get these filled up. We're going to plug the ink holes. We're going to put them into the printer. And hopefully this printer works. Now, you see here on the printer, I'll show you that again. They have it listed as $10, but I actually purchased this when they were having a half off sale, so 50% off. And so this printer was only $5. You can check it out online. It's a MFC-4620, a brother printer. So maybe go on eBay or something, but I guarantee you more than $5. So let's get back here. And one more thing, you might want to have some rags handy. So after we do that, I'm going to take this flyer copy that I have that I send out to some of my, well, most all of my customers who buy my products. I'll send this flyer copy out, and you can see it here. So I'm going to use this and do a copy just to see if this is even printing. Now, oftentimes on a printer that has been sitting up for who knows how long, look at one of the recent videos I did, and that printer had a date on it of about 1.5 years. So the thrift store puts a tag on it to say when they put it out on the floor, and that printer's been there for about 1.5 years. But surprisingly, it printed out pretty darn good. I think it still needs maybe a little cleaning, or probably it's just not super clear because I'm just doing a copy, and copies are seldom as clear and crisp as printing from file. So we'll find out when we print from file. But that went really well, and so I ordered the refillable cartridges for this one, and I want to see, will this one work? So you get to see that with me today. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the black ink. And I like to use these super long syringes. That way I don't have any problems getting down into the bottles. So the bottles are pretty deep. Now, I already shook up the black. That's something because pigments settle a lot faster than dyes. You should shake your dyes once in a while too, but especially the pigments. They will really settle on you, and then you're not going to get a good pigment mixture, and not going to get good prints. So get those gloves on. Let's get some dye out of here, or some pigment black out of here. Start filling these up. Now on these, you're going to want to check on your specific cartridges, but these refillable cartridges, the fill hole is on top. So we're going to just fill that up. And you want to get over 70% full according to the manufacturer of these cartridges. But one thing I found out for sure is you don't want to get more than about 80%. If you get too much ink in a cartridge, you just get mess and it won't work right. You're going to have problems. It's trying to seep out the air hole. It can be a real mess, and you don't want that. But you do want to follow the manufacturer's instructions, and as I said, in this case they said 70%, and this is taking a good bit of ink. The black cartridge takes more ink than the others, so there we go. I got that about 80, 85, maybe slightly overfilled, but should be okay. Now there are multiple reasons for not overfilling. One is obviously you don't want all that mess because it's messy. One of the other reasons is, like I said, it can come out that refill hole or the air hole, and that's just catastrophe. Do not want that. So there we go. We got the black. Let's get these other colors out. I'll try to speed her up here. So same thing. Don't need to explain it. We're going to use that top hole because on this cartridge, that's the refill hole. And we're just going to top them up to about 80% or so. Just make sure we got enough in there. So I guess there is another reason, and the other reason is the system is going to warn you when the cartridges start getting low. Now these have a little lever that goes up and down that'll warn you, but a lot of cartridges also warn you after a certain number of prints. So this one may have like both of them. I don't know how Brother does it exactly, but yeah, it expects there to be a certain amount of ink in a new cartridge. And you really, each time you do this, you want to refill them good, because you do not want the system to be trying to print without ink in the cartridge, or you may run the printer. Now, I haven't had that problem, but that's what they say anyway. Not sure who they is. But people who know better than me. So yeah, these take a pretty good bit of ink because they're spongeless. Now you want to try to make sure you keep everything neat and clean, but these do have a small filter, but I would not rely on that. I would rely on yourself to try to keep your ink, your syringes, everything as clean as possible, so we don't get our print nozzle heads clogged. Don't want the print head clogged. If it's clogged with ink, you can usually clean it out easily, but if you get it clogged with like foreign matter, Yeah, that's probably the end of that print head. Too much trouble. I've tried to take them apart, print heads, and put them back together, but the way that they're designed, oh my goodness, just a nightmare. Somebody more capable and patient than me, and if you had somehow access to the special gaskets that they use, because that's the problem I ran into, is those gaskets that separate the chambers. I tried to use different things to substitute for it, like a little Teflon tape and things like that, but it never worked for me. I never got it to seal off the way it should, and so I just finished destroying the the print heads. Who knows on those? Maybe some of them I'll try to fix one day. But not a lot of printers are worth buying new print heads for. Now I do have a couple that are, like the old Epson Artisan 50s and the Epson 1400s. Those might be worth it because the printers can run anywhere from $400 to $1,000 each, depending on their condition. So in those cases, might be worth it. So right there in the front, I'm going to show you is where the cartridges go. So let me get these gloves off. And we'll pull out the old cartridges. And see if we can install the new ones. So there you go. I can't see very good, so bear with me here. We're gonna try to get her done. So there's the black. There's the, no, that's the red, the blue, yellow, and black. So did I do that in the right order? Looks like I did. So there's the black. And that sounds like it went in there okay. There's the yellow. Blue. They're clipping in nice, so hopefully this is going to work. Now I have bought these refillable cartridges before that didn't work. And just because it fits doesn't mean it will. Now you're going to see on the screen of this particular printer, the 4620, it's going to ask you for each cartridge if it refilled it. So, or if you replaced it. So we're going to answer yes because we definitely replaced it. So there's the red, the magenta, cayenne, yellow, and there you go. Now, in theory, this should work. It didn't ask to perform a cleaning cycle. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to spin this back around so I can actually see it. And let me see if I can run a cleaning cycle. Improve print head quality lines, blah, blah, blah. Print head cleaning. Let's do all. Choose the strength. So they have 3 levels: strong, strong, or normal, strong, and strongest. Let's just start with normal, because why escalate if we don't need to? Now, granted, this thing has been sitting for a very long time, so it may require one of the stronger cycles, but I just don't think that's where you start. So we still got these cartridges and these chips. We're going to hold on to them. You never know. I save these things way longer than I need to. Now, this did have the original cartridges except for the yellow. The yellow is definitely a third party. So we got a generic one there. But I like to save them, especially for the chips, because sometimes you can use those chips and get a resetter. Now that is popping right off of there. Not sure why. Why is it popping open? Those cartridges may be a tad bit tighter, so it may not be 100% perfect fit. So it's popping it off, but hopefully in day-to-day use that thing's not popping open all the time. So let's see what it says. I think it wants to print a page, so we're going to say yes. Start. And we got a little X when we did that. I'm not sure what the X means. Okay, I am stoked on that. So let me switch over and show you what we got. And again, there's no telling how long this has been sitting. And we do have a little bit here. The black is pretty good. It could be a tiny bit clearer. And we do have a little bit of black into the yellow there. Not sure what that's all about. And we're missing a few on the blue, and we're missing just one on the magenta. So, or cyan, I know, cyan, cyan, I don't know. So anyways, yeah, it's pretty good. Considering there's no telling how long this has been sitting, I'm pretty stoked with that. But I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to go ahead and flip it around so I can see it again. And are there any dotted lines missing? Yes. And then it shows you about, you probably can't see this, but it shows you different examples. And so I'm just going to show one that has not too much for each one of them, because they did print pretty good. And we're going to start and let it run through again and see if we can get a perfect print. Now again, I don't always expect a lot right out of the bat like that, but I think we got pretty lucky with this. So it looks like this printer is good. But the jury's not out on, or the jury's out on that one. So we're still checking. But I'll give you another print head cleaning tip. Do not run more than 2 print head cleaning cycles at one time. Normally I would only run 1 and then let it sit for a while. But since this printer's been sitting so long, I'm not uncomfortable with running it twice because I'm only running the normal one. If I did the strongest one, I definitely wouldn't do it twice. You just don't want to do that. So yeah, if this one doesn't clean it 100%, it's no problem. All I'll do is just leave it, and then I'll run a few prints, maybe a couple hours or so. I'll run one, and then tomorrow I'll run a couple, something like that. And then if it still isn't good, then at that point I might run another cycle. Okay, it's asking us if we want to do another print head nozzle check, and we do. We want to check it one more time. Let's see what we got. Did we clean it out after just one time? And the answer is no. We improved on the yellow some. The black still looks good. We're still missing one over here on the magenta, and it's the same one. I don't like that. But if you look at the cayenne, the cayenne is even worse. But let me see, is it the same ones? No, it's not all of the same ones. So that's a positive sign. Is it's clearing some and some others are clogging, and that may be a sign, not be a sign of clogged jets. It may just be the print head and the ink hasn't fully filled the print head yet, and so you're getting a little bit of that. But it could definitely be a little bit of clogging. But as I said, I'm going to run some prints through it and let it sit for about a day, because it hasn't been run for so long. So I'm going to let it sit for about a day, and then I'm going to give her another shot. So right now I already have one of these loaded, and I'm going to do a test print. So here I'm going to tell it no, and we're just going to go back home, and then let me check the settings over here again, because I can't see, I'm sorry. And our options, and what I want is to change the quality of the copy to best. Now there's a reason that you change the quality to best, especially when you're trying to clear one out, is because when you switch to best, it's going to force the print head to use all of the nozzles, and that's what we want. We want it to use every nozzle, and hopefully we'll clean it out. So let's run that again. Well, for the first time. Let's run it and see what it looks like. But I'm pretty confident. I think we got a good deal. I think after a little time, maybe another cleaning cycle or two in the next day or so, I think we're going to get this thing back to full health, and we're going to have a really, really good deal. And we have a phone call. Sorry about that. So this is going to take a minute. We can sit here and listen to the phone and let this print out. And again, I've mentioned this in other videos, and as I told you, I got this for $5. One of the things that I don't do is regular thrifting. Now, I did get this at the thrift store, but I don't just go thrifting just to go thrifting and go check every day, check all the thrift stores. The problem for me is I live in a small town, and we have a few thrift stores, but on any given day, they may not have anything for you. So here we go. This is what we got. I don't know if you can see from there, but it's definitely not perfect. We have a few lines going this way. The black looks pretty good. So as you can see, the black was clear and the blue wasn't, and that's probably what we got here with the lines here. The red was pretty clear, and I don't see the same lines in the red, and the yellow wasn't bad, and also the yellow looks better. But the blue, if you can see that, I guess because it's just not clear, but that's a positive outcome. I'm pretty confident that after we get her cleaned out that we're going to see some better prints than that. So back to the thrifting thing. If you go to the thrift store 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to find anything, at least in my hometown, nothing that I would pay for or want. And so it's just not the kind of thing that I do all the time. But like if I'm driving past it and I'm not in a hurry, maybe I'll stop in there. If, for example, I have to go do something and I go to do it, and then it's almost time to pick up my children who live near one of the thrift stores after school, then I'm like, okay, I got a few minutes to kill. I'll stop in. I'll see if they have something. Now, that way, if you find something, hey, it's great. You know, you didn't waste the time because you didn't have anything to do anyway. And you found a hidden gem like this printer and like some of the other things that I've found over the years. But that's how I found them. I just rely on sheer dumb luck that I'm going to show up on a day and there's going to be something good that just happened to get put out recently, or like the last printer I reviewed that I bought at a thrift store. That one had been sitting there for a year and a half, and I have seen it before, and I was like, I really don't want to pay $40 for it, but I just happened to be that way, and my wife's like, oh, they got a half off sale today, and I was like, oh, I'm going to stop by there and grab that printer that I've been looking at. So I did, and I'm glad I did. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video, and I hope it was useful for you, and I hope you can understand the benefits of picking up these old printers. And if you look into the description down below of the last video, and I'll copy it in this one too, I list some of the brother printers that I have found that use either chipless or the cartridges refillables with the auto reset chips. Now, there are far more available than what I list, but the ones I list I have personal experience with. I have owned them, I have tested them just like this one, so I know those work. So if you have any questions about other ones, go online, see if there are any cartridges available for it before you buy it. And I don't mean just the expensive cartridges. I mean like the other one that I reviewed uses the Brother LC51 cartridges, and you can get 24 of those cartridges for $24. That's the kind that you want, because you're going to really get that price per page down to where you can print as much as you want. If you have children, oh boy, are they going to be happy, because you can print coloring pages, you can print books, you can print whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about the cost of printing. It's just no longer a problem. So yeah, so if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and you're going to see a lot more. Like the video too. If you like it, and check out that description down below, because in that description you're going to see some of the printers that I have personally worked on that accept either chipless or refillable cartridges with auto reset feature. You can get tricked. This is the last thing I'll tell you. You can get tricked by refillable cartridges, but sometimes they don't have chips, or they don't have auto reset chips. So I don't know what the point of a refillable cartridge that has a one-time chip on it. Maybe so you can keep buying chips from them. It's not a good idea. So thanks again, and stay tuned for the next video.